Let's start the party.
You're listening to Beyond Sight and Sound, live with Josh Kimmel and Leighton Harrington. If you want to be a part of our show tonight, call 419-549-5744.
And I do believe that we are back. We're live. And you're listening to Beyond Sight and Sound, metal detecting and treasure hunting radio. I am your host, Josh Kimmel, and along with me is the co-host, Mr. Captain Leighton.
Hey, good evening, buddy. Good evening. How are you tonight?
All right. Looks like we've made it in. We're plugging right along. We are live. So, hey, we'll...
I don't know if we're live, but I know we are alive.
Well, I don't know. I'm hanging in there, I'll say.
That's good. That's a start. Anyway, how's the weather treating you? I can certainly tell you. 3 days ago, I was hunting in a t-shirt, and today I would have to put on a t-shirt, long sleeve shirt,
sweatshirt,
and a coat,
hoodie, jacket.
Yeah, it certainly has turned the opposite direction, 180 degrees. And I think it was like 31 degrees this morning when I got up. We had some snow, and we're expecting another 2 to 4 tonight. And, that's that four-letter word that starts with S. So, no, yeah. I'm not happy.
Dirty, nasty stuff. Blah.
Yeah, not good. Anyway,
well, weather... and that's about the way it's been here, too. We've had high winds, low temps. I'm thoroughly convinced at this point that either my comment a few weeks back about the groundhog has really upset some powers to be, or Mother Nature is obviously bipolar.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Somebody else posted something like that today. I saw that.
Yeah, she certainly needs some...
straightening out.
Maybe we can get a hold of a doctor and see if we can get a prescription of antipsychotics for Mother Nature.
Oh man, I'm telling you, it's it's 2 steps forward, 4 backwards. It's just I'm so like beside myself. I thought we were out of the woods, and here we are back at it again. I am going to Florida. I am going to Florida. Yeah, I never thought I'd say that, but I'm going to Florida.
It'd be my luck. About the time I'd get down there, they'd have, a freak hurricane or something.
Hey, that wouldn't be a bad thing. I'm not wishing it upon anybody, but you know what? Maybe some of that silver will be uncovered down there.
Right. I'll be going, well, is it going to cut the beaches? My CTX waterproof.
Exactly. Unreal.
Oh,
man.
But that's the way it goes. What do you do?
Well, I will say I did get a chance to get out this week.
Yes, you did. Way to tear it up.
I have since broken my own Indian head penny record. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Not many silvers that day, but boy, I'll tell you, I was dialed in on them Indians.
Yeah, I think you've got that down pat for that area. If you don't know what an Indian sounds like under the coil in that spot by this point, there's no helping you.
Right, yeah, I'd agree. Yeah, it's a great place to have someone come and learn, actually, and listen to what I'm listening to and what I'm hearing. It's actually a good place for that, Of course, I'd have to give up a couple of Indians, and I don't know if that's fun or not, but... Nah, just kidding. I wouldn't mind. I'll even bring you there. How's that?
Wow, maybe there's one or two left for me.
You know what?
I'm sure there's got to be plenty around.
There's so many in that place, it's ridiculous. It's beyond ridiculous.
Well, let's see here. We've got a couple of guests in. We've got Swansea in the house, I believe, or I thought I seen. Yeah, we've got Swansea in. We've got Suki. We've got Miss Tam. We've got Bill. We've got. I saw him somewhere in. Oh, there. We've got Homefinder. So we've got a few people dropping in.
All right. Awesome. Yeah, I wish we could figure out a way to know who the guest was, so that way we could at least name them.
Well,
we can,
let's see here. Let me look. Guest 1533. Welcome.
There you go. There you go.
Welcome to the show, the Weekend Dig, where you never know what's going to happen next, which way it's going to turn, or how quick it's going to get there.
Yeah. Well, one little bit of advice I give you: don't say nothing bad about the groundhog anymore, because look what happened. And two, for those who don't know how many Indians I dug in that last trip, I was there a total of 9 hours. I had 30 Indian head pennies.
Very, very good.
Crazy day.
Well, and I guess, if it was the comment of the groundhog that got us into that, maybe I can make some sort of a comment about a unicorn, and they'll at least bring us a rainbow.
Ooh, that could be good. There's always a gold at the end of the rainbow. You know that.
Well, I don't know. Leprechauns are mischievous sorts.
They are.
But, I doubt they can be much more mischievous than some of us.
Every week we end up in trouble with some kind of an animal.
Right. Well, and unfortunately, you can't even say anything about a unicorn and hope to get away with it.
Oh, no. Times have changed. You can't do that stuff anymore. Everything's too politically correct. You know that.
Well, and even in terms of politics anymore, that's about like watching WWF.
Oh, you just broke my heart. You mean WWF isn't real?
Well, Uh-oh. We've got a caller.
All right.
Hey guys, how you doing today?
Good evening.
All right, Swans.
Hey, I got a quick comment for Leighton really quick. You know, people talk about digging up a tribe of Indians. I'm pretty sure that sumbitch has already dug up an entire reservation.
That's what I told him. I'm pretty sure there's some sort of laws or legislation against a reservation like that.
I can tell you what, he won't be owning a casino anytime soon.
Well,
only if I bring them with me. Maybe they'll let me use them.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, man.
Oh, wow. We're turning south quick tonight.
Yeah, we went politically incorrect all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's all right. It's all good. It's all good.
But what a heck of a sight. I just can't believe that amount of Indian heads came out of one site.
Yeah, and, like I've told you before, I hunted this place when I was younger. I was a young boy. I was probably 13, 14 with my dad. Over 40 years ago. And I was just sitting here one day, I'm saying, geez, I haven't been to that park in many years. And it's a good ride. It's over an hour away from where I live. So, I figure, well, you know what? I'm just going to go up there one day, and if I don't find anything, have at it. It's just the way it is. And with no great anticipation in my mind at all. And the first day I had 12 Indians. And I said, well, okay, that's a really good record. I think I broke my first record by 2 that first day. So I've only dug 10 before that. So, of course, I went back. But the silver had eluded me that first day, Brandon. So I ended up going back the very next day because I was really excited about it, and I got 22. No, I'm sorry, I got 15. So I got 15 the second day, but I got a couple of silvers that day. So I went back the third day.
Do you think somebody went through there just literally digging high tones maybe and just left all those penny signals?
Absolutely.
I think that's a very good possibility.
Absolutely. This place has been pounded for over 40 years of the best, and I am in touch with the best of the best, believe me. And I've been told numerous times that this place has been beat to death. So the only thing I can think of is, there's a couple of things that might fall into place here. One of them is probably the fact that older technology, it's not a hidden park, but it's a place where it's kind of, it's kind of overlooked. You're not really thinking stuff would kind of be there. And it's not a really pretty park. It's kind of like a dog park. It's turned into a
sleeper site.
Yeah, and I think just people feel like it's been beat up for so many times over so many years that people just feel there isn't anything there anymore. But the technology has gotten so good in the last 5 years that, I think I'm just lucky enough to be one of the first ones to go back and really hit it well and take my time and put some serious hours. I'm not talking an hour here or an hour there. I'm talking when I go, I'm putting in, 5, 6, 8. One day was 9 hours. So it's a long day, but the rewards are definitely there, buddy. So I think that's what's happened. There was a couple of things that kind of fell into that category where I think everybody just thought it was a done deal, but it certainly isn't.
Now, what kind of depth are you digging these things at? Are these your normal 6-inch targets, or are these really deep, maybe that people were missing with maybe a lesser machine? Or
I'd like to say it is that, but it isn't. It's actually 6 and 7 inch depths. On an occasion I might get, I think probably out of the 500 targets I've dug out of that park in the last 8 visits, I probably might have gotten a few Indians that are like 9 inches, but nothing deeper than that. The deepest target I got out of there so far is a bell. I posted that. That was my 4th trip there. I've got 9 trips now. I think it was my 4th or 5th trip there. I dug a bell. I'd say the bottom circumference where it flares out is probably about the size of a silver dollar. So it's a good size
bell.
bell.
Conestoga bell.
Yeah. And I would say it was probably about 12 inches. That's the deepest thing I've got so far. But everything else is 7 inches. Nothing's really that deep. Look at my videos. I posted a couple of videos. You'll see they're not deep at all.
Yeah, you just, yesterday, I think, posted one with the gold pocket watch.
Yeah.
Good video, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. That pocket watch is beautiful, too.
Thank you. Honestly, I just took the cap off. The caps are all about 4 inches thick. That's where the grass line kind of stops, and then it turns into all dirt. So the caps are only 4 inches, and if you look at that video, that pocket watch is exactly where I found it, right inside the first scoop of the shovel of the dirt. It was right underneath, so it couldn't have been much more than 5 inches. Now, I know I've often said I don't dig anything if it's less than 7 inches, but here's the exception to the rule. The tones that I'm getting, Brandon, are that choppy, halo-y, really, when you're going over a wheat penny, what that sounds like? It's really, it's got that beautiful, like, thunking noise on either side of the coin. That's why I'm digging these targets.
Oh, I was going to say, Swansea probably wouldn't recognize that. That's too new for him.
This year, anyway. I haven't dug a silver coin or an Indian yet this year, so I can't say much.
Oh, sheesh. Wow.
Well, you sure are kicking it on the LCs.
Yeah, I've dug 4 Drake busts, that Canadian 1843 half-cent token. I dug a matron head, that 14-karat gold ring, all at the same 2 cellar holes. And the funny thing is these, and you're saying the same thing with the Indians that you're finding, the last 2 large cents that I found, the last 2 Drake busts have had a really, really scratchy. Normally on the AT Pro, the large cents are an 83 to an 85 all day long. No jumping, just that screaming signal. These have had that bouncing around number between an 81 and an 86 with that little bit of a weird high pitch going down to a funky sound, like you said at the beginning and the end when you're going over it. And I don't know if they were on edge and maybe when they came out of the ground they laid flat when I picked them up, but they all seem to have been flat for the most part. But, yeah, they've been just really, really odd sounding the last couple anyway.
Well, but these are on the private land, though, correct?
These are all on private land, yes. These are not public places.
Right. Now, let me ask you, but it's not in a field, is it? It's not something that was turned over, correct?
No, it's not. This is actually, the guy owns 30 acres, and it's a wooded property behind his house. There's tree stands everywhere for his hunting, and he just happens to have a cellar hole sitting in the middle of the woods out of his property.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the reason why they're sounding like that, because that hasn't been plowed. Had that been plowed, those things turned over, you would have got a really nice clean signal. But because they've been sitting there for so long, you get that like scratchy, funky. On the CTX, it gives you kind of, I call it like the hee-haw. It goes hee-haw, hee-haw. It's kind of really weird, but that's what it sounds like. It sounds just like a donkey. And when
I'm used to the consistent high tone of a field. You know, when you go onto a potato farm or a corn field or anything like that, it's used to just that ding, 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 ding. You know, when you go over to the corn, it's the consistent high tone. I guess that's the difference. So this is the first year I've really got into the cellar hole part of it. I wasn't aware of that tone, and a lot of times I would have probably skipped that tone if it's in a farm field, because that usually indicates some big piece of iron crap.
Yeah, that's right. You would have walked right by that under any other circumstance, but because this is stuff that hasn't been turned over for the last 200 years, it's definitely a different tone for sure. I mean, that's what I'll tell you, a lot of times when I go to a park that I haven't been to in a long, long time, or for my very first visit, if I try a new piece of property that I've gotten permissions from, a lot of people ask me, gee, I've noticed when we first got here, you didn't dig for like a half an hour. I'm listening for the better tones. That's all I was doing. I'm not necessarily right on my knees. I'm not going to say that if I didn't get one right away, that really sounded extremely well, that I wouldn't be on my knees digging. But I do try to test the water, so to say, just listen for all the different tones and see kind of where everything's at for depth-wise. Because, when I was in Ohio with Josh and you guys out there, not necessarily in the hunt itself, but when we did a field later on that next day, it was I was digging all stuff like 7-8 inches deep, but it was all fairly new stuff. So it depends on where you are. It really does depend on where you're at. I thought for sure I was going to bang out some good stuff, but it put me to the test, that's for sure. So it doesn't always work in every single area, but the rule of thumb is anything over 7 inches is usually pretty old. So
right. Now the other question I had about that.
Figure
Go ahead,
your average old coin is usually right there in the 6 to 8 inch range.
Right.
That's not to say you won't find them shallower.
No,
right.
Everything's like 7 inches, 8 at the most. Occasional a 9, but everything's like 7 inches, 8 inches. It's crazy. So
any concentration areas too? I mean, was there like a lot of them found in certain spots, or?
I'd say out of the 9 visits I've been there, I probably have had about 15 pocket spills. Now I'm considering 2 or more coins a pocket spill.
Yeah, me too.
But the majority of them are 2 Indian head pennies in each hole. I got one on video the other day, but when I was shooting it, I can't post it because it'll give away the park, and I don't want to do that quite yet. So I'm keeping that one to myself just for now. And you know as well as I do, I'd have like 900 guys there. So I'm just trying to get a couple more hunts out of it before it goes kind of crazy. But anyway, that being said, I had 5 Indian head pennies in one hole. About 10 feet away, I had a barbered quarter, a barbered dime, a mercury dime, a V nickel, and 2 Indian head pennies in the same hole.
Wow.
How these people have missed it is beyond me. I just don't, I can't even make up I have no words. I really don't know what to say. I really don't have the actual, I can't call it an excuse. I don't know. I don't have the answer really to say why these have been overlooked, I guess. I don't know unless, I mean,
I can give you one answer as to why they missed them. They suck. If you have a pocket spill like that and somebody walked past that and didn't dig it, you just plain old suck.
Yeah, either that or, I mean, obviously, if you don't go over it, you don't find it. But I mean, it's just, I mean, but from what I was...
And like I said the other day, maybe these people that told you it was hunted out, maybe these people that say there's nothing there, you should tell them you're supposed to hunt with the other end of the machine to the ground.
Yeah, right. Or stop using a magnet.
Or, you know those things work better when you put batteries in them.
Well,
turn the machine on.
Maybe they, I was just going to say, maybe they failed to realize that there is an on and or off button. So, but yeah, I really...
Or even once you turn it on, you've got to have a coil on the other end.
I mean, to be damn straight with you, I am very surprised at how many coins are in this area. It really, really is ridiculous. I've gotten 5 or 6 V nickels out of there. I got 3 shield nickels the other day.
Some buffaloes.
Got a few buffaloes out of there. I've gotten 5 or 6 rings. Nothing real good with the rings yet, but they're all antiques. They're all really, really old ones. I did manage a small silver one the other day, so that makes 3 silvers out of there, 3 silver rings. One
small reservation of Indians.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, well, exactly, an entire reservation.
Yeah. Hey, last year, I know you probably remember, but towards December, I was really fighting towards the end with myself, and I was trying to get out as much as possible to try to break the 200 Indian head penny mark for the year.
And I think you stopped somewhere in the 180s, I believe.
186, that's correct, in the end of December, and then, of course, Christmas came along, and New Year's, and then that, of course, threw the 200 out the window. But this year already, Swans, I've got 155 in that park. I'm probably close to 200 already with the other ones that I've gotten from the other places. So I'd say I'm probably in the 180s already with that already sometimes. So I'm going to have to check. I think I got about 30 sitting in the shelf there. So
now, in that one park alone, what's the oldest and the newest?
All right, so that's a good question. The newest one is 1909. I got about 10 of them out of there so far. The oldest Indian head penny is 1882. So not that old, but the oldest coin up until the other day, and then I'll throw in the other coin that I just got, was an 1875 seeded dime. I've gotten 3 seeded dimes out of there so far. 2 in the 1880s and 1 is the 1875. So it is possible to pull an 1877, Indian out of there. That kind of got my hopes up when I saw the 1875 seeded dime. Now, the other day, I just wanted a newer area. There's still plenty of areas in that spot to still dig and find stuff, but I wanted a change of scenery. I had to get out of the wind. I don't know if you remember, but 3 or 4 days ago here in New England, we had that 60 and 70 mile an hour wind. So I had to go and try to hide from the wind for a while. My face was so frozen. I ended up going out there, and I ended up finding a small little hill. Well, on the hill, I was just picturing myself, which happens to be completely not in the park area. I went across the street and found a hill, and I got out of the wind, and I could just kind of picture myself or someone sitting here back in the day looking, out at the sunset or whatever, and, just sitting on the side of the hill and losing some stuff. And sure enough, about 15 minutes into it, I pulled a couple of wheat pennies, which kind of made me feel good about it, which wasn't the Indians, but the Wheaties were old. They were preteen, right around 1910, 1911. I think I had a couple of them in there. And then I got a nice low tone, and I said, oh, here we go. Indians are here too. Well, don't you know, I pull out this nice tomback button. I said, okay, that's great. That's really old. I cover it up.
I'll take it.
Yeah, I covered it up. I go over the hole. I get another high tone this time. I open the hole back up, and I get my oldest coin to date, which wasn't even in the park. It was on the hill, 1846 Largie. So it is definitely, it's definitely got a lot of promised land in and around the area too now. So it's opened up my eyes to start hunting the little strips too, because that's actually where this was, in a little strip that hadn't been touched for over 200 years. So who knows what's going to come out of there now? I mean, 1846, that just definitely blows the 1870s by 30 years. So who knows? Who knows what's going to be there now?
Now,
But
what size park are you talking about? I mean, are you talking about a couple acres? Are you talking about 1 acre? Or are you talking about
2 acres? Small park.
2 acres. Okay, a typical park. Yep.
Yeah, a typical 2-acre park. Not very big. I guess they used to hold functions there at one time. And you know what? With all these pennies everywhere, and they're all like 2, 3, 2, or if they're not in the same hole, they're very close to each other, like within one coil from side to side, where the 2 Indians came out of probably the same pocket. I can picture people sitting there back in the early 1900s when the park was established. By the way, 1895, when I found out when it was actually established, they might have had ceremonies there. I found some police memorabilia already in that park. I got a broken badge the other day that had had POL on it. That's all I could read. I knew it was part of a police badge. There was I also got two police cuff buttons, and I got a nice big coat button from one of the police that were in that area too. So I'm thinking it was just a ceremonial park at one time. That's what they did.
And an Indian Head convention that they had at one point too around that time frame.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe, for something to do for the kids or something, they used to have a couple of penny tosses or something.
A penny arcade.
Well, we talked about that. One of my friends and I that we went there last week, and that's the same day I got the 30 Indians. We thought maybe there was a penny pitch, but they're not all consolidated in one area. They're all over the park. It's not like, 40 of them were over there, after a couple days, or, after 3 hunts, most of them were on that side of the park. They're all over the park. They are everywhere. So there's really no consolidation. If it was a penny pitch, I would say they would be all like within a 30 or a 50 or 100-foot section, but they're everywhere.
Unless for some reason they moved it around quite a bit.
But they're not.
But even at that doesn't account for all of them.
Right, yeah. And like I said, Josh, there's 2. And then there's 2 over here. And then there's 2 over there. And they're not all just Indians. I probably got 4 or 5. The day I got 18 silvers out of there, well, actually, I ended up with 24 pieces of silver that day, but I had 18 silver coins. Was not the day that I actually got the 30 Indian Head pennies, actually. It was a day that I was there for 6 hours, and I ended up getting more silvers than I got Indians, actually, that day.
That's a nice problem to have.
Yeah, that's real rough, huh?
Yeah, that was a good day. I had a lot of pieces of silver that day. Like I told you guys before, my personal goal when I go out is to get 1 piece of silver, whether it be a piece of ring or anything, just as long as it's just 1 piece, that makes me feel like I've achieved what I've gone out to do for the day. But that day I'm going to have
to look it up on Google. There must have been the Great Penny Drop of 1910 in some part of Massachusetts that the government was planning on doing military testing on, so they decided to do it with pennies.
Yep.
There's got to be something online about that.
I have no more words to say. I don't even know what to tell you. I honestly think that it was a combination of a few things. Like I said when we first started the conversation, I think people thought that it was a hunted out place or that it wasn't as good as it could have been back in the day, and so they've just stopped doing it. Maybe some of these people have passed on. Maybe they've moved out of the area. It's kind of an out of the way area now. It's not. It's turned into more of instead of a people park, it's more of a dog park. So it's not the cleanest of the areas. It's not in a very good part of town. I think there's a lot of little things that are making it add up to a spot that people might be even afraid to go to. But because I'm not from the area, I really don't care. So I'm just taking advantage of it.
It was an agricultural experiment to make stronger corn, and when they found out it didn't work, they said, "Oh, hell with it, we'll turn it into a park."
Yeah, we abandoned that project.
Yeah. So,
right.
And then, of course, the technology got better. So I think there was a bunch of little things that added up to the reason why I'm getting so many. It doesn't explain why they didn't get the silvers, though. I will have to say that because
that doesn't make any sense, too. But One question, last question I have for you. Now, be honest, because I know I do this with certain coins too. Did you go on and on and on and finally say, son of a bitch, another Indian head penny?
It's another Indian.
Jesus Christ, Indian head penny.
Well, no, I haven't said that, but what I have been doing, I noticed myself doing, there was a point for the first 3 or 4 visits, I was really like out in the field. After I get one, I check the dates. Not anymore. I just throw them in my pouch.
Yeah.
I throw them in my pouch.
Yeah. Indian doesn't matter. It's not going to be any older than the 1880s. We'll just throw it in the pouch, not worry about it.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's just another real. What the hell I want to dig them for?
Yeah, we'll throw it in the pouch. We'll check the date in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and that's what I've been doing. I haven't even, honestly, I think the last 3 hunts, I've got, let's see, I've got them marked down here. I've got the day with 30, I've got one with 16, and then I've got another one with 22. So I've got a total of 52, 62, 68 Indians that I have to check dates on still today. And I haven't been out in 3 days because of the weather. So I got 68 more to check. I haven't even looked at them. I just put them over there. And so that, if that answers your question, I guess.
I guess I know what you're doing next year.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But, you know, I still love digging them. I love digging those dang things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm expecting to see a seeded quarter come out of there because there are seeded dimes. I got 3 out of there, so there's got to be. Right. And with that large cent, I'm assuming that, I mean, unless it's just a poor man's area, and that's why they had so many Indians. But I will tell you, I also broke another record that I've never done before with the barbers. That day, I got the 18 pieces of silver coinage. They were everything from Roosevelt's all the way back to the seededs. So I had the Mercuries. I had the quadfecta that day. I think I showed it to you on on Facebook. I had the Roosevelt, the seeded, the Mercury, and
the barber.
And the barbers. The barbers, I had 9 barber dimes that day. The same day. I couldn't.
I just blocked you on my Facebook, by the way, because I 18 silvers in a day. You're done. Unless your last name is Tucker, I mean, there's no acceptable reason to keep you on Facebook.
He's on the too.
Forget the fact that he's got more Indians right now than probably everyone in the chat combined.
More than I've dug in 5 years by 25 times.
Right.
I'll tell you, Vic is on a roll too. There, you're right.
Yes, he is. He's on fire.
Yeah, he got that gold pocket watch the other day, and he goes, "I'll be right back." He couldn't wait to even put. This is before he even posted it. He sent me a picture, and then he goes, "Oh, I had to go dig another one." And then when he opened it up, the poor guy, I felt bad for him. It's gold filled, I guess, or gold plated. But I told him, you know what? So what? It's still a cool watch.
It's still a cool find.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Beautiful watch, by the way, too. It had almost looked like a stop sign. I'm sure you saw it. It looked kind of like octagonal. It was cut squared on each. It was square round, I guess. Pretty cool.
I'm not sure that's an actual term, square round, but I'll take your word for it.
It is. It is. I just made it up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the military's bought some of those tires.
Yeah, right.
Flat spots.
They get good traction from what I understand.
Yeah.
Right.
Spots.
And they cost 3 times as much as a regular tire.
Right, exactly. You don't have to put studs on. They're already made for the grip.
Right.
Studs, I haven't heard.
Makes for a bumpy ride, though.
Yeah, right, yep.
The faster you go, Josh, the smoother it is.
I saw that Mythbusters too, buddy.
Did you? The faster you go, the smoother it is, buddy. That's it. But anyway, I hope that kind of...
Well, see, that was for their new amphibious vehicles, because you could pull it up onto a couple of planks, and there you go, float across.
Right.
That's right. Yeah. Never thought of that. Boy, it's a universal tire, right? Basically.
Yeah. It'll go anywhere as long as it doesn't rattle you to death before you get there.
Right.
Well, what a good idea. If that thing has got flat spots on it like that, I mean, you could, just put a couple of planks in the water and drive right on it. It sits nice and sturdy. There's no tipping.
No rollback.
No rolling. You just go.
Pull it up to the nearest gas station, tell the attendant, I've got a flat tire. Can you take care of that for me?
Yeah, but the hard part is when they come out and they go, which one?
Well, see, that's why they make the big bucks.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. But I don't know. Who knows what's going to come out of that park? I don't know. I haven't got no gold rings out of there yet, which I'm pretty surprised at because there are so many other relics, too. I did get a gold pin from one of the schools that were up in that area. What else did I get out of there? I got some nice, I got a nice sterling baggage tag, too.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that's a really nice piece. I've never seen a sterling one, so I'm not sure if someone was of wealth that happened to be walking through to pick up the bus line or trolley back in the day. I really don't know. Who knows, right? Who knows how that stuff got lost? Everything has a story.
Right, absolutely it does. But that was definitely a unique find.
Yeah, that was, and remember we talked about a couple weeks back maybe now, some days you go out and you find a bunch of nickels, and then sometimes you go out and you find a whole crap load of dimes, and then, you go back like I did with all
sometimes you go back and find a tribe of Indians.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's the same day I got 2 baggage claim tags. Now, what's the chances, right? I haven't found one in about a year.
Right.
And that day I find 2 in the same park. So it's just one of those, I don't know if you get tuned into a certain tone in your ears.
It could be.
You're just lucky and just happen to get over the same tone. I mean, obviously, those were 2 different tones.
Right.
The brass one was the low tone, mid-tone, kind of, like a nickel would have given you. And the silver one was obviously a high tone. So why it was that way, I don't know. It's not much sterling, but it's definitely sterling. I mean, you can see I didn't even have to clean it up. It just came out of the ground that way. It's beautiful.
Well, the twists and curveballs that the hobby throws us. Of course, with you saying this has been the first that you've kind of focused a little bit on cellar hole hunting this year, Swans. How are you liking that?
I would kick any farm field that I've been detecting right out of the water if I continue on the same type of cellar holes I've been finding. Because these are definitely untouched. I know a lot of these guys in this area, the groups and stuff like that, they're specifically into cellar holes. But if you can find one that's untouched, the amount of relics and the amount of old coins that come out of these things, it's blowing my mind. To me, I always had that negative connotation that they're very trashy. But if you know your machine well enough, I'm not even digging square nails. I'm so used to my machine by this point that the square nails have not even been a factor. But the buttons and a couple of military buttons I've been pulling out, and that weird, like I said, my first Canadian large cent, half cent, I did not expect to see that where I live, again, in the southern west part of New Hampshire. But the large cents, it's just unbelievable how shallow they are.
Right.
I absolutely love it. If I could keep getting, and I'm on to some more right now too, like a whole settlement of them. There's like 8 of them I'm looking at right now, trying to find them. I was talking to Leighton about this a few weeks ago.
Good grief, you've got a village.
Well, that's exactly what it was. It was a lost village with actually a town hall at the end of it. If I can find them, then I'm good to go. I wouldn't even go back to farm field hunting except in the midsummer because when the woods are all overgrown and you can't barely swing a coil.
Right.
The farm fields, at this time of year, we have to hunt them because they're not planted yet. So now I'm conflicted. I've got all these permissions on these farm fields, or do I go to the cellar holes because I know I can't hit them in the summer because it's too overgrown, and I can't hit the farm fields during the midsummer. So it's the finds I'm making at these cellar holes right now are keeping me off my farm field permissions. I will say that because there's so much more interesting finds. The large gems come out of the ground in so much better shape. That's another key too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you won't get
they're not being plowed over and they're not being fertilized.
That's right. That fertilizer will kill them
not
things.
getting struck by the plow and all that.
Yeah.
I really, I don't know why I avoided the cellar holes for so long up to this point because I thought in my area, again, you've got groups like the Stealth Diggers that have hammered on these places, but there are so many untouched ones. It's just, I can see why they concentrate on those because you're not in the public eye, you're not around people driving by curious about what you're doing and everything else, and and the finds are just so much more, I guess vast is the best way to put it. I like finding these old escutcheon plates and the old door lock plates and stuff like that too. I don't mind finding that type of relic, the trigger guards and stuff like that, the ox knobs and stuff like that. It's a complete different experience for me, but I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
And most of the stuff
that's awesome.
And most of the stuff you're going to find around the outside of those cellar holes are going to be in pretty good condition too. Instead of like Josh just said, they'll be out mostly in the fields after the last 200 years. Eventually, the plow blade is going to whack it somewhere. So to find something in one piece is one thing alone, but at least around the cellar holes, you got a good chance of finding like you just got through saying, a better coin and in much better condition because it's out of the way. There's just no traffic, and it probably was lost by a person right then. You know what I mean? Versus being out in the field and lost while they jumped up and down off of a tractor or off a horse or who knows, or an ox or whatever that they were using to plow up those fields back in the day, where it's just possibly fertilized to death. You know how many toasted coppers you got out of fields, and when you get those coppers like I just got the other day, and like the one you got there a couple weeks ago, they're two different animals altogether. When you get a nice thick planchette like that, and you do clean them up the proper way, they're just like they were just made. It's amazing how thick those things. Can you imagine having $1 worth of those things in your pocket?
Oh, geez. I couldn't. It'd be like being weighted down with cement shoes in Boston.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I can't even imagine having $1 worth of those things in your pocket. How about half cents, right? 200 of them to make a buck.
Right, and to think about, and I think that's probably why a lot of these people, too, don't realize why there's so many of these. Again, New England, we're blessed with the finds that we get because we have a lot of old history up here. And people say, well, how do you find so many large cents in New England, blah, blah, blah. Well, think about it. I mean, we're part of the oldest part of the country. What else? Where did the currency start in the rest of the country? People got out of here. They went west. Yes, there's not a lot of large cents, say, in the Ohio River Valley and stuff like that. But people like Bill and Joe Toth and them, they do find them occasionally. But 99% of them, I would have to say, started here. If these people lived and settled here, they're going to be all over the place.
Right.
Those state coppers, though, that's one thing that I can't understand why. To be honest with you, I found 4 state coppers in 5 years, and I just don't understand why there isn't more in my area. I know that when you get down into your area, like in the Massachusetts area, there's a lot of these Jersey coppers come out, the Connecticut's and stuff. They elude me. I can find King George's all day long, but I can't find state coppers to save my life hardly.
Well, here's the funny thing. It seems that people did like to travel back in the day. I don't know what I can't really give you that answer either. But yeah, it does seem that you're on the right track because we do get the Mass coppers here in Mass. Obviously, we don't get a lot of Jersey coppers, but we do get more Connecticut coppers than Mass coppers for some reason. I'm not sure what attributes to that, but for some reason I don't want to say they're common, but they are kind of common. And usually, I think last year I might have had 3 or 4 beautiful Connecticut coppers that I found on a piece of property that we acquired a private piece of property that we acquired some permission to do. And all 3 or 4 of them were in a very tiny, small front yard. I don't know why so many
moved there from Connecticut.
Your guess is as good as mine. I really don't know, Josh. And why so many in one front yard? Did the kid bring them out from his father's collection, or who knows? But more Connecticut's than Mass coppers. Although a couple of our friends, fellow people that are in the same treasure club as myself, Silver City Treasure Seekers, I've seen 3 or 4 already this spring, I believe, have been found.
Of the Mass coppers?
Yeah. And
yep.
I've only got 2 out of 44 years, and both of mine are pretty well toasted.
My first old coin was my Mass copper, and that was with the Ace 250 3 months after I started detecting.
Nice. Is it in good shape?
And it's in actually really, really good shape. It is, yeah.
Wow, I'm jealous.
Considering it came out of a farm field, especially clear 1788 date.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, they made them for 2 years, 87, 88. Yeah, they're beautiful. And did you get the
No, I didn't get the good ones.
See, that's why Swansea's like that with his Reals. I mean, he started out and was just spoiled from the get-go.
Yeah,
It was ruined. You know, I started out with that Ace 250. I hit a few parks for a few days. My buddy Gordon and Jim invited me down to Northfield, Mass. We were hitting a potato farm down there, and 10 minutes into the hunt, I got there late. I walked away from the car, went 15 feet onto the field, forgot my headphones, went back, got it. Where I picked up my detector, where I set it down, was that mass copper. I didn't even know what the coin was.
Awesome. That's a great story.
I had no idea. It rang up, you know, of course with the Ace 250, you don't have VDI numbers, so it rang up as a high tone, like in the quarter range. Dug it out. I saw the 1788 date, had no idea what it was, stuck it in my pocket, waited a few minutes, called the guys over. I said, you know, once it dried up, I said, I don't know what the hell this 1988 coin is. I said, but it doesn't look like anything I've ever seen before. I just started. And they go, no, that's a 1788. So I called my local dealer, and he goes, that's a Massachusetts copper with the Indian on the front, the eagle on the back, and it says 1 cent. And I said, whatever. You know, I went and stuck it back in the car. We hunted the rest of the day. And the next day, I finally got the chance to look it up. I'm like, oh, holy crap, that really is an old coin.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool.
I had never found a silver coin. I never even found a wheat cent at that point.
Wow, that's awesome. Congrats on that. And with a 250 to boot. But, you know, hey, like you said, sometimes that being green, you dig it all, right? So, I mean, even if, listen, no matter what machine, with that thing, it would have gave you a high tone anyway. So you would have dug it with no matter what machine. But let me just add, I don't know anybody that's dug one, probably in the last 4 or 5 years. The half-cent mass copper. I've seen a lot of the 1 cents, but the half cents seem to be a lot less available, even in the ground. I mean, I don't have. Have you seen any, Josh, or have you, Swans?
I've never seen one posted.
You did see one posted?
No, I have not. I've never seen the Massachusetts copper half cent. I've never seen one posted.
Okay. Yeah, I saw one about 5 years ago. I think it was on TNet, maybe 6 years ago. But outside of that, I've never seen another one. So pretty rare to find. I do know a friend of mine, his hunting buddy found one of those and a mass copper in the same field in the same day. A half cent and a full cent in the same field.
In Massachusetts?
Yes, it was. Yep. Up in, I think it was up in North Adams. Up that way.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Nice.
And that was about, I want to say 3 years ago now, 4 years ago. So,
now, Josh, you've found large cents out there in Ohio, correct?
Yeah.
Which variety have you found?
I've found a few. I believe my oldest was, I want to say 1822.
So that'd be a matron?
Yeah.
Was it the curly 2 or was it the straight up 2? There's about 8 different varieties of that 1822.
It doesn't matter. That thing was so worn it it isn't even worth a zinc penny.
That's bad.
But less deteriorated. Don't get that part wrong.
Oh my.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It held up in the ground better in its time in the ground than a zinc penny would in 6 months.
Exactly. So how many large cents have you found there in Ohio? That's kind of my curiosity.
I'm not real sure. I mean, they, like you said, they do pop up for us in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We do find them here. They're not, I won't say that they're impossible to find, because we see many other people in Ohio finding them as well.
Yep.
A lot of times they do seem to turn up more primarily in the old fields, old home sites, stuff like that.
Hmm. Have you ever found?
Now, were yours also found in fields, or were they found on personal permissions or anything like that?
Well, I was going to say, actually, my first one, it actually came up out of a relatively modern schoolyard.
I was just going to ask you ever get any in a schoolyard?
Yep.
but it appears that it had been worn as a piece of jewelry or something. Now, my best one was an 1853 that not only was the detail so good on it that you could clearly make out what it was, you could feel it. I mean, you could feel the lines in the hair.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, I got an 1854 like that, Josh. Same thing.
And that was on a private permission, about 7 inches deep, probably right next to an old tree stump.
Huh. So somebody sat there one day to get out of the sun, and that was the end of it.
Matter of fact, me and a friend of mine had hit that place, and we were on opposite sides of the yard, directly across from each other pretty much, and we each pulled large scents at the same time.
That's awesome.
I think his was like, I want to say 1846, 47, something like that. And then I had the 53, but mine was much better condition. I mean, it hadn't been in circulation long before it was lost.
Well, like Leighton asked with the schoolyards, my best condition large scent I've ever found was with my Ace 250. It was an 1838 large scent at my high school here in Swansea, 5 minutes down the road. They just tore out a bunch of ground to put in an outbuilding for the sports area right at the end of the track. And this was frozen solid ground the end of January. This was in 2012, right after I started, again, just after I found that mass copper. And I got this signal just getting dark, and I chiseled and chiseled and chiseled to get this thing out of the frozen ground. It was frozen in a clump of dirt. I figured, it's going to thaw in the pouch when I get home. This thing came out of the ground with near perfect detail on both sides of the coin. That's my absolute favorite coin I've ever found, just because it took me so long to get it out of the ground, and it's in such good shape. It came from the high school I graduated from, and it was literally 2 inches in the ground and took me 15, 20 minutes just to chisel out a big enough of a hole to get the thing out of the ground from.
Wow. And what year was that again?
What was that?
What was the year again?
1838, I think.
38, yes.
38. Did that
one
I've
never cleaned the coin, and it's still in amazing condition.
I was going to say, did that one come out of the ground? I don't know if you guys remember, or we all remember certain coins. I remember quite a few of mine. The 1854 that I was just referring to, for some reason, between the 1840s all the way up to 1854, I think or 55 is the last year, right? Because 56 was the first year and the toughest year, obviously, to find. And I don't know anyone.
Flying Eagle.
Right, exactly. I don't know anyone's ever found one, but so 55.
That was the promo Flying Eagle, though. That wasn't even like minted for circulation. That was just given to certain people.
Right, exactly. So I'm thinking, for some reason, from the 1840s or very early 40 to the 55, the composition, when they come out of the ground, especially here in Massachusetts, the green patina that them things hold are incredible. Is yours in that same state as mine, or is it different up in New Hampshire?
Mine, we have such sandy soil up here. It pretty much is so abrasive that it kind of wipes off that surface of the coin. But the detail, like I said, the relief on it is what's showing all the detail, to be honest with you. It's almost a chocolate brown color, almost like you soaked it in olive oil, which I've never done with that one, just because I didn't have to get a date off of it. It's just, there's no surface sheen on it by any means, and it's not green, but it's almost completely brown the whole way through, but it just got such high relief that it was so easy. You can even read Liberty through her head on that one.
Right, yeah.
But the sand up here is just such thick sand that everything that comes out of the ground, you can get a lot of detail. Like my first Flying Eagle was the 58, I believe, 57. The 57 Flying Eagle has a black color to it, but there's no sheen to it at all. No green, no nothing.
Mm-hmm. Well, why I was asking is because it just seems that here in Massachusetts, a lot of the ones, like I said, from the 1840s to the 1850 mark always come out, or seem to come out, if they're on like public land or private land, but not in a field where there's been some abrasive or maybe fertilizers being used. They always come out nice and green. At least where I'm at anyway.
That's what I'm finding with the cellar holes.
Yeah. Nice and green.
Yep.
Well, and I'll tell you that 53 that I found, it wasn't green. It was just that nice, just chocolate brown kind of color.
I wish ours were like that.
But it was a little different circumstances, because right there next to that old tree, the soil was just that rich black soil.
Oh, yeah, that really does preserve all them, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And it was partly under a root, too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what they say, if it's under a root, it's got to be good.
That's right.
Right.
Well, I've dug under plenty of roots, and it wasn't good.
Well, yeah, that's true, too. I can't tell you how many times I've dug, a crushed can out from under a root.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of stuff like that, here's
an iron bolt or an iron nut or something that gives you that perfect signal, and you get underneath the root, and you're like, oh, it's still a solid 85, 86, and you get underneath that root, and it's like, oh, come on.
Yeah, freaking nail, right? Nice square nail.
Right, yeah, the old square nails. Gotta love those things.
Yeah,
or the old ox shoe.
Ox shoes, yeah, pieces of a horseshoe, anything like that. It drives you nuts.
Yeah.
Or the thing that always gets me, and it never seems to fail, you get that slamming signal, it's right up next to a tree, it's under the root, and you're going, oh, it's got to be good. And you get that mason jar lid.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's funny is that's one thing I've never dug out of the ground is a mason jar lid.
Well, I got plenty.
Oh, if you come to Ohio, I got a place I can take you. You can dig them all day long.
Sardine cans, yes.
Well, I tell you, too, the place where like I said, you can dig them jar lids all day long. It never fails. I keep digging them because I'm thinking one of these has got to be attached to a jar of coins.
Right.
But, them damn leprechauns.
Hey, I've been, as you guys know, I've been doing this a long time. Here's a crazy thing. I want to just throw this out there to you guys. And I know you guys are going to relate to this because I'm sure it's happened to you. It's happened to me. But I've got people that swear that when they go over a good tone and they remove the cap, they pinpoint it, remove the cap, and if they see a grub, now I'm not kidding you, I don't know if you know where this is going, but if they see a grub, they swear there's a piece of silver underneath of them. You ever heard that?
I've never heard that before in my life.
All right, and here's a couple more.
I was thinking you were going to say, you don't know how many times they've told me they want to cut it open because it ate a ring or something.
There's got to be a silver coin in that grub's belly.
That's right.
No. And
he ate a gold earring. I know he did.
I've just recently hunted with a guy, within recent time, within about a year or so. Every time he cuts a plug, if there are ants underneath the plug, he swears it's going to be something fantastic. I mean, like, he'll even call me over. I could be like 3 miles away. Get over here. The ants are everywhere. Wait, watch me.
It's going to be good.
It's going to be good. So, yeah, he swears that, I didn't know if that was something that you guys have ever heard of or...
No.
I personally, when I see the grubs, I think of him now all the time, but I've thought of that myself. It seems like for some reason the grubs like that metallic metal. Or either that, maybe I'm just hunting in a grub-infested area. I don't know.
Right, it leaches into the soil or something, and they just like the way that dirty is, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. I've never heard of that, but I guess there could be some validity to it.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I think, Leighton, I told you the story about when I found that Canadian half-cent. We were looking for those cellar holes that we were just talking about earlier for this place.
Yep.
And I took my old buddy Carl up there. The guy's early 70s, and we're up there digging. I found that Canadian half-cent, blah, blah, blah. Well, Carl calls me over. The guy's about to have a heart attack on the ground. He found a mason jar lid with a ceramic top, and there's still signals in the hole. And I think I told you about this, Leighton. So he's like, come on, Brandon, get over here. So he's going over it back and forth, and I can hear the signal. You know, it sounds like consistent high tone. There's glass. You know, you can see the outside edges of the mason, the jar and everything. So we're going at it, and he's going so extravagantly careful around the outside. He's literally digging a crater 18 inches in the woods, making sure he doesn't hit the edges of this jar. So finally, he gets the bottom to pop up. He pops up the bottom of this thing, and the damn jar is full of square nails.
Oh.
Oh!
What a heartbreaker for that guy. I mean, he did find his first seeded coin that day in 1890 seeded dime, but, you know, he got that lid off, and then the signal was slamming. I mean, it was...
Well, yeah, it would be.
Yep, and he spent a good 15, 20 minutes. I had my phone camera rolling and everything the whole time. I wanted to see this guy pull out this jar of coins, and he pulls it up out of the ground. It's covered with dirt, and he takes out his towel. He puts it down. He spins it upside down, and all these freaking nails fall out of the damn jar.
Congratulations, a colonial square nail cache.
Now you can re-roof your roof.
Yeah.
It was absolutely heartbreaking.
Wow.
Well,
that is,
I got one kind of similar to that. I dug a mason jar next to a 250-year-old oak tree at the bottom, and I thought I had hit pay dirt finally after 35, 40 years. And I dug it up, and I was taking this meticulous time to not break the bottle, and I just knew in my heart that I had the best cache of the world.
Right, you were going to open it up, and there were going to be silver dollars and dimes.
Well, that money was already spent.
Well, it was. I just closed my eyes. Sailed. I was dreaming I was going to make it on every cover of every book in the world, and, you know, I hit it big, but it was a mason jar, and it had a beautiful top on it. It wasn't broken. I took my time, like I said, digging this oversized mason jar out of the ground. And inside of the mason jar were about 20 other lids to other mason jars that were smaller than
I figured he was going to say, and inside the mason jar was 23 Cracker Jack tokens.
Oh, man. I couldn't believe it. All the tops of the lids were in there, all stacked on top of each other.
Oh, howdy-doody rings.
Yeah, it sucked.
Yeah.
I don't try to eat that too much.
You rescued that mason jar like a pro.
I did. I did a very good job, I might add. Very good job.
Created it like an archaeological site, and you did not harm a single mason jar lid that was inside of that jar.
Well, I felt like throwing the mason jar up against the rock once I found it, but I didn't. I took it out gingerly, and I covered the hole back up, and, well, I'll tell you what I did do, though. I did take... not that mason jar, but another mason jar one time on a piece of property, and I buried a cache for someone else. This is on a friend of mine's piece of property. I had scoured the whole property with him, and we found a few silver quarters. I think I had a few dimes, and I found a Tootsie toy. I think we found, remember the old metal combs, the aluminum ones they used to make years ago? I had one of them, and I don't know, I had a few things. Anyway, I put it all in a mason jar. We wrote a note with his name of the owner of the property. I put my name as the finder, the metal detectorist, the year and the date that we found all the stuff. And I put a dollar bill that I had put in a plastic baggie inside of another plastic baggie so it wouldn't get wet. And we sealed it all up, and we buried it back in his yard with a little treasure map that we kept, and we put that down inside of his cellar over a rafter. So if he ever passes away and somebody buys the house, they'll know that the cache is there. So I thought that was pretty cool. I did that, now that I think of it, probably about 20 years ago. About 20 years.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that was part of one of our little escapades, I guess you could call it. One of our...
well, you never know. Your actions 20 years ago may spark somebody's interest to get into the hobby.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows, right? Yeah.
Right.
It's pretty cool. We put some coins in there of the date, I think we, the penny, the nickel, the dime, the quarter, and all that stuff that we had on us. We didn't have any half dollars or anything like that. But I remember putting a couple of bucks in there.
Well, now, if you did that nowadays, you'd definitely have to put it in a mason jar because the coins would not last in the ground. So you'd have to you have to make sure they're pretty damn well sealed. Otherwise, they're going to be looking like the average penny that comes out of the ground nowadays.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. And they don't last long. It's sad to say that and it's just another way for them to cut a corner. And it goes to show you what our dollar really is worth. It's not worth the paper that it's printed on, for crying out loud. It's terrible. Pennies. I think pennies cost us. I don't even know why they're still making them. What did I see recently? 1.32 cents or something like that to make.
Yeah, it was like a penny and a third to create one zinc penny nowadays.
It's retarded. It's why even have them then, And you know as well as I do, them things, they sound really good and they're in the ground. So
especially the ones that are broken up. Yeah, those are the ones that always sound the best.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I'm not sure if they were accessing the other line just to listen in for a few minutes or if we had someone trying to call in on the other line, but if anyone would like to reach the show, the number they can reach us at is 419-549-5744, or through Skype, search for Beyond Sight and Sound, click the call button.
Definitely would like to hear from them. I also posted, too, on Facebook. I don't know if you saw it there, Swans, but just before we went live tonight, Josh and I had that reminder that we were going to be live, for the weekend dig. But there's a flyer on there.
I saw Josh's flyer about the fishing trip.
Yeah, exactly. And I posted that so that way if they need to, we're going to start taking numbers, not only for the call-ins, but we're going to give away up to 100 numbers. So I think we've got about 70 or so left. And we're going to start taking numbers there because it is starting to get upon us quick. We want to make sure that there's at least 1 in 100 chances of winning.
Right. And to get that entry, like I said, to reach us at the show, it's 419-549-5744.
That's right. And I think Swans just posted it, too. That's one thing
I at least have that number down.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see where it goes. I hope that, everybody that calls in, we know them. So it'll be fun to get together, I think, to do some fishing, do a little bit of detecting. We can do a little bit of water hunting. And, maybe we can have a little cookout the last day or something for a couple hours. I think that'd be a ball. What do you think?
Oh, of course it would.
Right. And I could get to and, hey, Brandon, if you win, buddy, you'll get to see all those Indian head pennies.
Well, as long as you're not going to do the same thing you did on the beach down in Connecticut where you dug a 24-inch hole and says, you know what, and you buried it back in and you said, you know what, if you want it, it's down there, Brandon. I left it for you.
Along with a fortune cookie.
Oh, my God.
Oh, it was unbelievable. He had dug down so damn far with this giant hole. He fills it all back in. He looks right over at me, straight faced, everything.
Oh,
Josh, it was hilarious. He goes, if you want it, Brandon, it's still down there.
Yeah, at that point, I think I had a lobster pot or something because I think it was already, the two girls had already dug that cooler full of whatever it was, I guess.
And they did that pretty early in the day, actually, that styrofoam cooler, yeah, with some crushed beer cans and stuff left in it.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it was as soon as they got there. I remember that. But, I had enough of that spot. At that point, I wanted to find just a couple pieces of silver, and I did manage to save the day. I think I ended up going over towards near the, when they said that everything was open, they opened up the kids' spot, so I went over towards the kids' area, and I did manage to save 2 mercury dimes anyway, so I got lucky.
And plus, you had gone beyond the main beach, I believe, too, past where the little stream had come down from the railroad track area. I think you had gone over there in the earlier part of the day even, didn't you?
No, I was going to. I talked with, who did I talk with about that? I was going to talk with somebody about going over because I figured, everybody else was already, eating up all the other coins. And I said, maybe I can find some real stuff that was lost, So I was going to jump over the stream and go over towards the rock area That's where I should have went. I should have just made a beeline for that over there, but I didn't. But that was a good. I'll bet that's a good spot. That's a good place to go back to, believe it or not.
There you go.
But I never made it over there. Never even made it over there. I know Joey. I think he did very well. He cleaned up.
Is that the guy that found the pouch?
Yeah, Joey. Yeah. He did okay.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. I have to admit, here's a perfect example of not doing what you preach. And I'll take the full brunt of this. I actually said to my buddy, I said, I'll bet you I know where the pouch is. Or the replica coins. And he says, what's that? I said, it's up near that log. That's the only thing on that whole beach that was out of the way. And I believe that's where he actually found it, was up near the log. In fact, he actually got one of those coins, the aluminum coins that was good for a prize. If somebody banged it in just enough into the log itself, so that he actually had to pull it out with his fingers out of the log to get it out. So
we've got a caller, guys. 330, you're live. Who we got?
Zach Peters.
Oh.
Zach from Ohio.
How's it going, Zach?
Yeah, that'd be me. How you guys been?
Ohio Dicker. All right.
I'm not able to stay on the phone long. Bill Marsh actually messaged me and told me I need to call in and get a number or something about a number.
Oh, the detecting fishing giveaway you're looking for.
Yeah, I think I got a number for that a couple months back, though.
I don't know. Did he, Leighton?
What was the name again? Yeah, Zach.
Zach Peters?
Yeah, 28. He's number 28.
Yeah,
oh, okay. Well, then we've got him in then.
We got you in there, buddy.
Can I have another one, though?
Nice try, but one per person.
Well, darn.
But see what you do, I don't think Bill's got his number yet. Have him call in, and if he gets the win, he's got the option to take up to 3 other people with him.
Well, he better take me.
Yeah, see?
Well, anyhow, I'll give you guys a little update on our last hunt we talked about. We're going to that, I can't think here. There's a ghost town. Anyhow, that didn't pan out so well permission-wise.
Right. Yeah, it got changed to a park dig.
Yeah. So we're working on another ghost town that's right near my house. What's come out of there so far? A couple large scents. I got a seeded dime today. Mercs, nice. Indian heads, relics galore. I mean, gorgeous relics. The ground is great in that area.
Nice.
I mean, that I know it would get toe tagged per se by PCGS, but we got an 1865 Indian that would easily grade low MS.
Nice. Well, when you're finding Indians like that, that's certainly not a bad problem to have.
Exactly. Just comb that area. You might end up with 150 like Leighton did. You just never know.
Right.
Yeah, we're working, it's a flood zone, so we're working through tons and tons and tons of trash.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
yeah,
Zach,
you will.
Zach, what was the year on the seeded dime?
What was that?
What was the year on the seeded dime?
53.
Nice. That's a nice
one.
Like
nice.
Perfect.
Buddy of mine got 2 King George coppers out of there today. We're not 100% years or what they are.
That's awesome.
You find out which King George they were?
I don't hear very often of double King Georges coming up the same day in Ohio.
Right.
We're not 100% sure on one of them. We are 100% sure on the other being a King George.
Nice.
The other one's a little worse for wear.
Well, that's 1700s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Congratulations to him.
Yeah, no kidding. But that predates the town a little bit. The town was founded 1815, gone by 35. roughly 20 plus home sites.
Well, that fits exactly what we've talked about before, Josh. You know,
Right.
Usually when you, like in the park that I've been hunting.
Yeah, like when you hunt a home, when you hunt a park, you can usually expect to find coins that even predate that by 30 to 35 years if you're lucky.
That's right, 30.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, that makes about right. So, you know, I'm assuming that that's just about right in the ballpark. Actually, it might even be even earlier than that. So, pretty early.
Yep.
Good for you.
Well, one of the King Georges, we got a date of 18. We can't see the rest of it. Does that fit? I mean, the pictures fit, but...
It might not be a King George. It might be something else.
Well, along the left-hand side, like you can see the bust. The bust is facing right, and it says Juravase on the left side. Hell, I don't know how to pronounce them weird words.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe Georgius.
Yeah, it's Georgius.
Maybe it's Georgius.
Georgius, yeah.
It sounds like a KG to me.
Yeah.
But it's dated with an 18, and I mean it's large, maybe the size of a $0.50, just a smaller than a $0.50.
Yeah.
Well, either way, cool finds. Congrats to both of you.
That's right.
Yeah, it was definitely a day of plenty of zinc-lids. You know, we love those.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They sound so nice.
What kind of relics?
Oh, they do, don't they? Crotal bells, the guy that was there today found 5 whole harmonica reeds in one hole. I'm not sure if there was a harmonica shop there or not. What else is coming out of there? Couple store tokens, which it's a local store. I actually know some of the family that owns the store, so I'm going to see if they'd be interested in having that back.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Maybe clean one of them up a little bit, put it in like a nice little flip or a Riker mount.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of really ornate stuff coming out of there. You know, it's bits and pieces, but it's all ornate, thin copper, ringing in the 40s on a dais. You know, not something you wouldn't normally dig.
Well, still, it sounds like it was a pretty good day. How was the wind for you guys?
Well, yesterday was absolutely ridiculous. Woke up to a couple inches of snow on the ground.
Right.
Today wasn't so bad.
Yeah, because I know you guys are further like southeast than me.
Where do you live at?
I'm up here in northwest Ohio.
Okay. Yeah, we're like Canton area, south of Canton.
Right. We've been getting the wind pretty bad here.
Yeah, it's been a little rough.
And then
yesterday was absolutely god-awful, though.
Oh, yeah, it's just completely horrendously unseasonable. I know what you mean. I'm hoping it warms back up soon so I can get back out there.
Oh, come on now. Don't be a girl. We were out there all day yesterday and all day today.
Well, and I would have been, but the spot that I had picked out to maybe go look around, there are quite a number of trees, and I just really didn't feel like letting Mother Nature drop a branch on my head.
Yeah, those widowmakers they're no joke. We had the same thing up here in New England today. I don't know if you had it today, Leighton, too, but we had sustained gusts of 30, 40 miles an hour with high gusts of up to 50 to 55.
Yep.
Exactly, and I've seen it throw branches out of these trees.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's no chance I go out detecting in the woods on days like that.
No.
Yeah, we were in the field, so I'll renege my comment.
I do like the "don't be a girl" comment, though. I think that was hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm paying for it now. I think I'm getting sick, so.
Uh-oh.
Well, you're right on, Zach. I mean, the King George III coppers, I was just looking at it, went up to 1820.
Yep.
Okay.
Nice.
Awesome. That's good to hear.
Could be a later
we
date King George III.
I know I can see 18. I can't see the rest of it. It's in pretty rough shape.
Yeah.
Now, is that something that you're soaking in oil, or do you have any methods of cleaning that right now, or?
I'm not the finder of it. He can choose to do as he likes, but if that's something that you recommend, I can let him know.
I don't recommend anything to anybody because it always comes back on you in the end. I claim no liability for the cleaning of any coin.
I will say this much. If he would choose to try and soak it in oil, do not use olive oil.
Right.
Don't?
No.
What do you use?
If I were to try and soak one in oil, which I don't really do myself very much anymore, I would use baby oil.
Okay.
If it was mine, Zach, if it was mine, I would let it dry. I'd let it completely dry and then toothpick the heck out of it. That's what I would do.
Yeah. And I use the toothpick that has a sharp end on one end and the flat, blunt end on the other.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Or even one of them bamboo skewers.
Yeah.
Yep, those work as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
They don't melt down as fast.
Do not put any water on that at all. Period.
Yeah, definitely no water, and I think everybody can agree on that one.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we were a little unsure what it was, so we did the, how do you call it, the foo-foo by mouth.
Yeah.
The salivation gland test.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can tell you what, one of the best things I ever learned was from Howard Hewitt down in, it's Howard out of Massachusetts? No, he's south of Massachusetts, Rhode Island, correct. He always did, when you get out in the fields and you find a coin that looks like you might have a possible date, he always did the brow test or the nose test. Take the oil off your nose, take the oil off your forehead, rub it on the face of the coin. You can normally get a date immediately, especially once it started drying, to get that date right off that coin.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting. That's interesting.
That works mint every time. You're not going to hurt it.
Huh. I'll have to check that out next time I'm in the field.
There you go. Learn something new every day.
Don't you?
And if you want to preserve that, I know you didn't find it, Zach. Your buddy did, but here's a little tidbit for yourself there. If you bring that little container with you, I'm sure you do carry something like that. Most of us do. You can always take a little bit of the soil that it came from and put that, in the tube that you want to save the coin with. That way it keeps it moist until you get home, and then you can decide what you want to do with it. After you preserve it, you can use Mod Podge. Mod Podge will stop that from deteriorating any further.
Non-invasive way to seal it off, and it only takes a little bit of hot water to pull it back off.
I use Mod Podge on coins, buttons, relics, everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get the ones with the sheen or the non-sheen as well.
I'll have to check that out.
I even used Mod Podge on my metal detector once.
Okay, I gotta ask why.
I'm kidding, Jack. I'm kidding.
I was about to say, you're starting to sound like my mother. Mod Podge for everything.
There you go.
Right.
It
works well. It works good with the old buttons. It works good with the old buckles. Everything, you can get the glossy ones or the non-glossy. It's up to you whether you want to do that or not. But the Mod Podge definitely, the thin layer, either use the camel hair bristles or the sponge bristles. If you use the regular bristle brushes,
very good quality brush.
Yeah, you don't want to leave streaks on the whatever you're using it.
Right. Well, that's just like I picked up a 1917 or 1919 S weedy today, and I mean that soil over there is ridiculously good on good copper. I don't know what kind of copper you'd call that. Thick copper, I guess.
Nice.
But it seems like it loves to eat away anything thin, so I don't know what's with that.
Fertilizer kills it.
True. Well, gents, I do need to go.
It sounds like you guys definitely had a great day, and hopefully the continued success on the next hunt.
Yeah, I think we got 15 flatties between us.
Nice. And any tombacks out of there?
You know what? I hate to say this, call me goofy. I've only been in it 6 months, but I don't really know what a tomback looks like.
Okay, well, the tomback button would be not your typical looking button. It'll look grayish or silver. Tomback is actually the metal that it's made out of.
Yeah, it's a metal alloy that the button's made of.
And usually
I
has
will
a
have to
raised
check
bump on the
into
back.
that.
If you're
I think I got a little bit of a gray one today.
So if you did that, that's actually even older than your kg, because you're saying you start 18, so you've got between 1800 and 1820 on the kg3. If you've got a tomback, I believe they stopped making them right around 1800, so that would probably be like a 1700s button, if it is in fact a tomback.
I will try and show somebody that and see what they say that knows more than I do.
I'm sure you were probably out with Ohio Relic Hunter today.
I was not. I was actually out with Mike Spicer from Paulding County.
Oh, yeah.
Now you're getting up there in my neck of the woods. Yeah.
Yeah, Michael knows.
He's the one that got the KG.
Oh,
yeah,
well.
He would know if that's a tomback too. Just ask him, show him the cleaned up button a little bit. Now, they look great with sheen, but they're very, very brittle. So don't try to work it in your hands too much. They will snap almost like a cracker, but they do hold up with their sheen and their patina very, very well.
Yeah, they do.
Okay. Yeah, he drove to here, so he had the 3-hour drive, not me. I'm in bed, he's driving.
Right.
They cut a variety of sizes too, I might add, just real quickly there.
Yeah. Well, let's hope he has a safe trip back home and continued success to him on the next hunt as well.
All right, gentlemen, have a good evening.
All right.
Yeah, Jack, right. You've got me on your Facebook, too. Send me a picture of that button. I can tell you right off the bat if it's a tomback or not, if you want, buddy.
All right, who am I talking to first off?
This is Brandon Stewart. That's who I am on Facebook, anyway.
Okay, I got you.
Look for the icon that says Swansea Searcher.
Yep, exactly.
All right. Well, thanks for the call, Zach.
All right, have a good night.
Have a good one. Keep it low and slow.
You too, buddy.
We do. All right. Well, and I think maybe on that we may just roll on out of here. What do you guys think?
Awesome. Sounds like a plan. Well, we appreciate everybody tuning in for this evening. Brandon, thanks for the call, buddy. It's always a pleasure. Josh?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to pirate you guys' show or anything, but I just had to give you a bunch of crap about your Indian heads, and I was happy to be part of it, guys.
Hey, that's part of the fun. You're always more than welcome to join in.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. We appreciate the phone call, that's for sure. And it's always a pleasure to talk to you, my friend.
Yeah.
You too, guys.
Hang in there with me, guys. We'll go ahead and roll out of here. Until next time, Leighton?
Keep it low, keep it slow.
All right, and we're back Wednesday with Brad Johns from the Hoover Boys. That's going to be a riot. We'll see everyone Wednesday, folks.